support staff to make sure that that one boss doesn't lose their mind along the way.
Okay.
It is possible to completely 100% automate an Airbnb business. I've done it with over 100 properties, and I'll tell you all about how I did it. And I'll tell you how you can too. And you know what the secret is? It's not just really knowing how to automate stuff. In this world, you just need to know what to automate. And a lot of it's simple. There's just a few things. So in this video, I'm gonna tell you what to automate and pro tips on how to automate it, so that way you can be like me, out of work, intentionally, which is kind of fun. Let's jump in. Yeah, I'm back on my BS, coffee every day, lots of coffee. Thank you for coming back to watch this video, Airbnb family. Now this video is hopefully gonna be a little bit more high level. I'm gonna try to keep it simple enough for you newbies out there, but to automate a business is really the goal of any business, right? Because if you want to sell a company, you need to remove yourself from the company. Otherwise, when you go and try to sell it, people will be like, well, you're going to leave after we buy it, and then all of what makes this company run is gone with you. So we're not gonna buy your company for anything but the asset value, right? So to automate a company is to give it a true valuation, and my business is worth ballpark about like 20-something million if I wanted to sell it right now. Last time somebody looked at it, which is cool. Now I have a little over 100 properties. Haley runs the business. Now the way this works is Haley runs all territories. We have territory managers under Haley. We have specialized managers that handle tasks like setting up listings, doing revenue, guest experience, selling landlords to get us new leases. We have specialized roles, and then a vast majority of our staff, our biggest staff, are housekeepers. We've got dozens of housekeepers on our teams. And then we have VAs. Most of our VAs are local, most of them. If you took a sheet of paper and you drew out what I just told you, Haley at the top over everything. And then under Haley, we have new lease sales, we have housekeeping management, we have guest experience management, we have channels like Airbnb management, we have revenue management, making sure we get good prices, and then we have general operations management, which would include inventory control, replacing things, maintenance, resolutions when guests owe us money, taking that and putting it into arbitration if Airbnb doesn't pay us for something, stuff like that. And then you've got, of course, accounting, tracking the numbers of the money, stuff like that. If you drew that all under Haley and then said, okay, well, the housekeeping manager needs to know some stuff to manage housekeepers, and under the housekeeping manager are housekeepers. Guest experience needs to know some stuff. There's gonna be some skills. And then under them is staff that runs guest experience. You can start to branch out an organizational structure. And for years, I tried to find a book on organizational structure and how to decide what structure companies should be. There's really no magic bullet business to business. But in my 7 years of running an Airbnb business, I can tell you exactly what roles need to fill in where. Now, I'm not gonna give you the 5-day seminar version of that because that's a really big topic. And we would have to cover, if I really wanted to nerd out and make this hard for you to digest in one sitting, I'd have to teach you how to do interviews, how to assess fit for managers, how to do interviews for entry-level staff, how to assess fit for entry-level staff, how to get managers to manage entry-level staff, all this stuff. There's a lot of little dynamics here. But what is remarkably simple about this is you can add one thing at a time. Right? So I don't want to scare you away from the idea of automating. As you grow your business to 5 doors, 10 doors, 15 doors, things will get added as needed, and you will learn a skill set, one skill set at a time. That's what I did. So at about 5 doors or 6 doors, you can start hiring housekeepers to do more bulk work, and this allows you to pay them by the hour. This is one of the first things that I think you should do if you're automation minded. See, housekeeper loyalty is one of the most important parts of automating your business. You need your own housekeepers. Now, if you pay housekeepers flat rate, they're going to be in a market that talks that same lingo. It's gonna be easier for people to pull them and recruit them to clean their properties. Or if you're paying people flat rate, it's usually because they have experience in the industry and work for other people, or they have a cleaning company. And to automate a housekeeping team, you want your housekeeping team so removed from the mainstream industry of housekeeping and other people's properties that they just stay with you. So it's better to hire people with no experience eventually, train them to do housekeeping, speak they have them speak your language as a company, and then own that relationship and pay them by the hour. Paying them by the hour will lower your housekeeping costs and give you more money to afford to pay other people for other stuff. All housekeepers should have a manager. And this is the first level of pseudo automation, is if you have a manager managing housekeepers, And that manager starts to communicate with guests. They start to do inventory control, buy more toilet paper when you're running out of stuff. You can 80%, 90% automate your business with just the relationship of a boss and housekeeping team, right? But that boss will get burned out as you grow. So now the rest of your automation journey is going to be to build systems and to hire support staff to make sure that that one boss doesn't lose their mind along the way. And hopefully, as you train and mentor that one boss, they become more capable of handling a more complex business. And so you should first read the book, The Leadership Pipeline, by Ram Charan. And then you should give your first manager that same book. You also should read a book called Multipliers, which is how to get better work out of people, make them more motivated, make them more productive, and then you should give that book to your first manager too. Now there's gonna be a lot of other reading material that will be great for you. There's one called Critical Business Skills for Success. It's by The Great Courses. It's like a 30-something hour audio book. It's very wide in topic matter. It covers all aspects of business. But to automate a company, you really need to understand business. So one step at a time, housekeepers and then the manager. As you pick up 20, 25 properties, that manager will need days off that you can't give them because obviously you're separating yourself from the business too. So you're not just gonna cover for them 2-3 nights a week. That person needs an assistant or another manager to come in and work on nights that they have off. So now you'll have 2 managers that work 5 days a week just on different schedules. And they're managing the housekeepers, doing inventory control, talking with guests. There might be a time that you have so many properties that that manager can't communicate with guests and housekeepers at the same time, right? That could be a level of growth that you reach. Now, when you hit that point, then what you'll do is you'll hire somebody to manage either housekeeping or hire somebody to manage customer interactions. And that really would be based on the strengths of your current manager. If your manager is better with guest interactions or better with housekeeping interactions, let them flow in that direction and start to hire support to cover them where they're the worst at stuff. You're still probably doing your own revenue management at this point, by the way. You should be changing your prices on Airbnb and VRBO. And I have tons of videos on pricing strategy on this channel, and you should watch those. Eventually, as you get big enough, you might decide to give listing creation and management, resolutions like asking guests for money and sending arbitration claims to Airbnb, and revenue management. You can give those 3 topics to people in more specialized ways. By the time you get to that point, you should be making $1 million plus per year in revenue, and your management team should be happy. They should be good at hiring people. Your housekeeper retention should be good. You should have some systems figured out, either by learning them yourself or through some sort of mentorship with me. I've got about 1,000 students, by the way, that I teach in this other course, and you definitely don't need a course to be successful on Airbnb, but they chose that path. So that is an option. If you are making $1 million a year on Airbnb, you can fully automate that business and still make a great amount of profit. And that's kind of the important part here. And I think that should be your goal, your threshold. Make $1 million and then automate in that order. So if I can give you fortune cookie advice to wrap that all up into one big like and subscribe kind of bow, it is that businesses are automated by systems and people. Don't use technology to automate. Use technology to support your people in the hopes of automating, to lower your costs on some stuff, to do repetitive tasks that one person could do 100 times over. That's one of the biggest myths in this industry, is that you can automate with technology. That's why you should never work with a company like Evolve. Evolve is trash because they don't have local people to manage your property. They just do all this technology-based stuff and they want 10% of your business, which is not cool. Avoid companies like Evolve if you're trying to automate. What you're going to do is you're going to teach people how to respond to customers and think critically, how to manage new situations. Humans can manage new situations, and in this industry there's always a level of new. Customers are different. They're always different. And then with them, you can give them best practices, systems to follow. So most of everything is done in some super efficient way, and then all they have to do is work their brain really hard every now and then to handle a new situation. And if that becomes frequent, you can make a system for that too, right? People, learning systems, critical thinking, making new systems. The company keeps growing and adapting and getting better and better and better. And then technology can make it easier for one really good person to manage something that's too big, right? So a platform management software can allow one person to message guests on multiple platforms. Or a pricing management software can allow one person to have an elegant pricing revenue strategy where they can like play with 1,000 properties and revenue manage 1,000 properties through some form of automated system where now they're only making minor tweaks to the machine. Technology can increase how powerful one person in your company is at their task, but it can never replace a person altogether. No matter what, employees and technologies should always be supervised by people. One of the biggest adages I've ever learned, there's two quotes I've ever learned from mentors, professors in business and stuff like that. One is never run out of cash. Follow that rule and you'll live forever. And then two, continue to inspect what you expect. And if you ever turn a blind eye to something that gets repeated that should maintain a level of quality, just know that it will break. It will break if you don't continue to inspect. Like a pro tip, and I'm really going to nerd on you on this. A pro tip is when I build systems for people to follow, I will pepper in completely useless, high-touch things that they need to do, like a certain form that they need to complete or something like that. Because what will happen is that form is a form of communication. Like, hey, do this. Every single day when you do this task, do this one thing. And it's highly visible within the organization. It's almost like a bobber on the water kind of thing. And the moment that thing disappears, you know that something's changed. So the moment somebody doesn't complete a form that they're supposed to complete or some menial task that doesn't damage the business, you start to know that that person is disengaging from their work. They're starting to let their quality of work lax because they're not doing something that's highly visible to you. Don't ever let anybody know if you're giving them something to do that just lets you know that they're doing something, because they will then game you back and just do that one thing so they don't get caught. But that's a pro tip for like making sure that you people are engaged. And pro tip number 2 for that is prevention is better than cure. So not only should you have these systems in place to know how engaged your people are, and so that way your managers can know that all the people are doing the right thing, but you need to find a way to make people still love their job day in, day out, month in, month out. So when you build this company, you're building a culture, you're building a vision, it needs to have momentum and growth. If you're not constantly adding new properties or doing something that changes the nature of the business or challenges the business for all time, if the business ever becomes static and you stop at, say, 50 doors and you don't do anything with the business and you're just like checked out, the people in your company will see it as a dead-end business. So a lot of automating is finding a way for a company to grow and challenge itself so the people in the company stay invested forever. Because to automate forever is to give someone else a place that they can spend their whole life building something that they care about. And that's the biggest part of automation. I've tried my damnedest with Haley to give her a place that she likes to work, a place where she has full autonomy and control. She could destroy the whole company if she wanted to. That's the level of trust that I've given her. She can absolutely just dunk the whole thing right now, and there's nothing I could do about it. But that is the exchange that I've made for the sake of automation. So you're gonna have to learn to trust people, and it is a wild ride. If you have questions about automation, some of them might be super high level. I'll try my best to answer them in the comments. I will be doing small group coaching for people who are making more than $1 million a year on Airbnb or VRBO as a combination. I don't do it yet, but that's something happening here in 2022. If you make more than $1 million per year on Airbnb and you want to have more candid conversations about how to grow your business, keep that in the back of your brain, because I will be available more now for the big boys. Some of my students are making $3 or $4 million a year, and the level of like student mentorship that I do is starting to be too low level for them, where I've got 30 or 40 people on one Zoom call, and we're talking about how to pitch landlords, how to handle like your finances in one area, where to buy a couch. These guys, they're way beyond that. And so in order for me to mentor them, we have to have a completely separate conversation, like just almost in a way one-on-one, or a much smaller group only for those big boys. And so I finally hit a spot where some of my closest proteges are at that point, and it will turn into an invite for some of you other big hitters to come in and have that conversation too. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it wasn't too abstract. And if any of you want to add to this conversation in the comments and have any anecdotes or advice for automation, would love to see it. Thank you so much, guys, and I'll see you on the other side.